All right, all of you already know what time it is. It is time to dive into the Tesla news for the day. And guys, I gotta say right now, we've actually seen a lot of very worthwhile updates for the day. Now, especially, I think what's really noteworthy here is Cybertruck update right off the bat, okay? We're going to talk about that in just a second. We've got an update also for some Tesla competition. Will it matter? Will it not? An update for Gigafactory Berlin, which is already doing incredibly well, but let's be honest, could always be doing better, right? Increasing production is always a priority, as it should be. And we've also got a huge update from Elon Musk, where I honestly think that we are looking at him turning Twitter into another multi-billion dollar venture, right? Another company that he runs well, he runs successfully, and he's already got a lot of really good ideas that have been very necessary for a long time. So let's start out. First of all, I will say, hey, drop it a like if you like it, subscribe for more stuff like this, share with your friends. That stuff really does help out a ton, and let's see how many likes we can get for the Cybertruck right now, because we've got a little bit of an ambiguous update, and I will say right now that, first of all, this is a little ambiguous so far, but now according to Reuters, and you know, Reuters is a very, very good source. I want to say that right now, make that very, very clear. According to Reuters, a couple of people familiar with the matter, yeah, I know, it's not the most concrete, but it's still something. They're saying that apparently Cybertruck manufacturing is ramping up pretty extensively right now. And it seems like we could see a lot of this start to majorly push forward, especially during 2023, okay? The end of 2023 is when mass production for the Cybertruck could really start to take off. And that aligns pretty well with everything we've seen so far. So much so that I do not think this is really inaccurate, okay? I would say, actually, in my opinion, this is a pretty good indication of what Tesla is realistically planning to do. We know Giga presses are on the way from Hydra. Obviously, very advanced engineering with those. They need a very high pressing tonnage to make the Cybertruck, and those are now on their way to the factory. So once those are set up and ready, obviously that's going to give Tesla an advantage, especially insofar as making a vehicle that is so large is concerned. So anyway, that's a really, really good sign of things that are already on the way. Do I think the Cybertruck will start manufacturing in early 2024, late 2023? Yes, I do. I still will say that I think there is a chance that mid-2023, possibly, and again, this is my speculation, could see the more expensive models making their way to the market. And with that, I especially mean the tri-motor all-wheel drive Cybertruck, quad-motor all-wheel drive. I could see that happening as well. It is a little tough to say because I know some people would say, well, those will take more time. They have more advanced engineering. Well, yes, that's true, but they also have a much larger profit margin. So it is worthwhile to push those out to the market. It does make sense, and I do think that that makes it sort of worth considering as a possibility. Anyway, let's move on to another Cybertruck update. Actually has to do with aftermarket parts. Now, Unplugged Performance has unveiled the first Cybertruck aftermarket wheels. Now, again, this is not a super new update. Actually, Teslarati brought this up, I think, on the 26th of October, but it is still something I did want to talk about. And you might say, well, yeah, but you could find aftermarket wheels that just fit the truck, right? And just fit the size that you need for the Cybertruck, and that is completely true. But these are sort of Cybertruck designed, Cybertruck inspired, and I think they do work very, very well. They're sort of lunar, if you will, which is very cool there as well. And it looks like they're being called the Cyberhex forged wheel. Forged obviously is something for durability. That's pretty much should be a standard, you know, I think anyway. But it fits well with the Cybertruck, and I do think that's also incredibly noteworthy. Anyway, great updates for the Cybertruck. This really shows us again how big of a deal aftermarket parts are going to be for the truck, okay? Trucks already have a great aftermarket representation, and I think that's really driven home here as well. I think that this really showcases that aftermarket is going to thrive with this truck. It's already very modular. We know the Vault has a lot of great features already, and I think that's only going to expand. Let's talk about a couple of updates briefly for Tesla's competition. We're not going to focus on these for too long because we do have some really important updates just a minute from now. But first of all, Mercedes EQE sedan, according now to Green Car Reports, should have a price tag of about $76,000 with 305 miles of range. That's pretty okay. It's more or less what I would expect. You know, I think that, again, they're kind of focusing more on the luxury category here. You know, I think the real question here for a lot of companies that are working on these sedans, especially more luxurious ones, is, you know, they're really kind of in the same price category as a Model S at that point. The Model S is a vehicle that's well established. It's been in the market for quite some time. It's pretty well understood. And you're kind of getting into that territory where people might say, well, the Model X has a better track record. You know, it's being offered by Tesla instead of a company that hasn't really done as much with EVs. You know, I think they haven't done as much. That's a bit of an understatement. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to keep a close eye on that, see what exactly we do end up seeing. Let's move on now and talk about an update also for a new electric pickup truck, the Ram 1500 Revolution. Yes, that is what it's being called, according to CES. Or actually, no, it's going to be revealed at CES, according to Teslarati, at January next year. So again, you know, kind of interesting. It does kind of make me wonder, are they going to be able to get enough of these out there on the road to actually make a difference? Or is it going to be something that, again, we see a lot of sort of stymied development on, where it's just slower than a lot of people would really want? That, of course, is a concern for good reason. Companies really have to get something out there, and they've got to do that quickly if they do want to keep up. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead. Let's also talk about an update for Gigafactory Berlin. Now, Gigafactory Berlin is in the process of expanding. Tobias L. on Twitter shared some images, satellite images of Gigafactory Berlin from just a couple of days ago, and it appears as though land nearby is being cleared. Now, this parcel of land is about as large as the entire factory already, and I'm talking main factory building, I'm talking a number of auxiliary buildings in addition to that. So it does look like essentially this secondary part could be a doubling of the size of the factory, or even better yet, it could be an addition to the processes that are completed there, whether it's battery manufacturing, whether it's building a new type of electric vehicle. I think the opportunities there are huge, and I think that's a great sign of things to come. Anyway, let's move on to an update now also from Elon Musk from just a couple of hours ago. Now Elon Musk has introduced already on Twitter a number of different ways to improve the platform. And one of them is actually making Twitter profitable, okay? Now, I gotta say, the amount of passion that Musk has already shown for Twitter since buying the company has been enormous. Think of the last time that you saw Twitter executives before talking about the company in the same light, or talking about, hey, what do you guys want to see? What do you want changed? You know, how can we make this platform better? How can we really make this a satisfying platform that people really want to use, and at the same time make money with it, right? Because it is a business at the end of the day, and that is what people want to see. They want to see Twitter being profitable. So, you know, it's kind of wild because Musk also took the company private when he bought it. And, you know, it's I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, now with Musk at the helm, it looks like he's actually wanting to make it lucrative. And I think some people are wishing it was still public. And I think it might actually be for a certain period of time. Anyway, we're not going to get into the specifics of that right now. But Elon Musk actually tweeted about the verification system on Twitter, which has been a point of contention for a very, very long time. And he said, and I quote, and this is just a couple of hours ago, it already has over 260,000 likes, so obviously people are liking what they're hearing, but he said, Twitter's current lords and peasants system for who has or doesn't have a blue check mark is, BS, okay? And I'm paraphrasing slightly, but anyway, and then he said, power to the people. Blue for $8 a month. Now, $8 a month is actually not a bad price, but it also makes it so a real person, can be running an account, running running their own account. They can verify that, hey, I'm a human being, I'm a real person. And then guess what? That's going to help a lot with the problems on Twitter with, spam, with bots, with all that stuff. And then not only are we going to see a great deal of that reduced, but it's going to be a far less exclusive thing. It's essentially going to say, hey, I'm a human, I'm verified, I pay for this, so I obviously care about it. That gives people an incentive to keep using it, engaging with the platform, which is really smart. And it also gives Twitter a good, consistent basis of income, okay? Which is such a necessary thing that I think Twitter has been missing out on for so long. Quite honestly, it has been so misdirected for such a long time. That's pretty accessible, okay? $8 a month. And Musk has also talked about other tiers, TIERS, obviously, where people could have access to the platform, have the ability to, maybe pay something for it, not have quite as much sway, but, a couple of different tiers to consider there. And I think it's such a good idea. And more than anything else, I think what's incredible here is you can see Musk's passion for Twitter just filtering through, right? And I think that's such a good thing to see, and for Musk to be able to say, hey, I care about the platform, I want to make this a thing, I want to bolster it, I want to make it successful, well, there you go. He also followed up and said, price adjusted by country proportionate to purchasing power parity. So, in other words, adjusting the pricing to make sure it's fair in lots of different areas, and I think that's a great thing as well. Increasing accessibility a lot by doing so. He also continued, and this is a pretty long thread, and said, you will also get priority in replies, mentions, and search, which is essential to defeat spam/scam, ability to post long video and audio, and half as many ads, and then paywall bypass for publishers willing to work with us, okay? It also says, this will also, or he said, I should say, his tweet says, this will also give Twitter a revenue stream to reward content creators, okay? Which is a really good thing, driving good quality content. There will also be a secondary tag below the name for someone who is a public figure, which is already the case for politicians, okay? So adding more verification, which, in all honesty, is a really smart approach, okay? It very much is. He's really doing a great job here, and he's also listening to a lot of feedback, so that is awesome. And I gotta say right now, I think so many people were thinking, when Musk buys the platform, I think his competitors were thinking this, really, he's gonna kick all the other car companies off, he's gonna... I really don't see that happening. I think that he wants to make it a lot more genuine. And I'm going to say, I think that matters potentially more than anything else, right? Making this a real, usable platform that your average person is going to use to have a discourse and, to have discussions and say, hey, what do you think about this? What is the end goal here? What's the outcome? Let's talk about these things. And that is such a good approach. Again, I think it's very interesting to see this developing for Twitter as a company. But anyway, guys, with that said, let's talk briefly about Tesla's stock for the day. Now, Tesla's stock today, not really moving a ton. we've seen it move up by about 0.12%, then after market hours down by 0.14%. Bit of back and forth actually going on there. And let's go ahead and look at this as well. I think there's actually a Fed meeting going on right now as well, or it's actually something that's now been set into motion. You know, obviously there's still a lot of talk about inflation, a lot of discussions ongoing with that. So I think for a while that's probably going to capture a lot of attention. And I think that this week, you know, again, we could see more volatility. We'll have to wait and find out, you know, so I want to talk about that as well briefly. I'm not an expert, you know, so keep that in mind as well, just my opinion, but it's going to be interesting. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this. Have a great one. Drop it a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and adios.